It's Monday.
It's Monday.
And that means it's Making Mogul Hour.
Where you either win with us
or you watch us win. That's the choice. It's your boy. It's your guy, the one and only Servigiano Alexander,
The
a.k.a.
King.
King Cosmic.
And
And I am joined by the one, the only.
it's your girl Empress. What's good, y'all? Happy Monday. We got some intellectual magic here for y'all today.
Today we're gonna get into some real gems, because if you pay attention today,
Yes.
I promise you're gonna walk away with some security in your business.
It's fact.
Security in what's rightfully yours. So
Y'all
I
know
would
how we
like
started.
y'all to welcome the wonderful Jordana
Woo.
to Making Moguls podcast.
Thank you. I like what you said, though. Security in your business. That's exactly what it is.
We're gonna get into it today. It's a beautiful topic. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited.
But we start all the time at the small wins, because it's the small wins that get us to where we are today.
Exactly.
You know, we all think about the big wins and all the triumphs and celebrations, but we try to take time to celebrate the wins within the wins. So we think about a win during this week and celebrate it.
Right.
So Empress, you think you got any wins this week?
My wins this week, I journaled.
Okay.
And that's so big for me because I feel like when you overthink and when you're constantly in motion of work and just like having all of these ideas that like my dreams been crazy too, but my dreams also been like visions. So I legit been waking up for the past 3 days journaling straight out of the dream. So it's given me time to like really see what's going on in my life and seeing how everything is connected, but it takes the pressure off of me. So I definitely been giving myself some mindfulness this week. So like that's a small win, but that's like yeah.
That's so important.
Yeah. What about you, BJ?
I love that. My small win was really just like paying attention to my ability to pivot
Okay.
and being able to enjoy the fact that like I've been doing this for a long time and I've
Nice.
learned a lot that you don't ever learn until you do it.
Yeah, he a seasoned OG, y'all, but go ahead.
And like Jordana's known me through many productions, many UGCS shows, so many shows. And there's a lot of learning curves you go through.
Right.
And this weekend we had a show, and you know, as always, things started to go awry. But being able to know how to handle that and give a good show where the guest's not gonna know the fire going on behind the scenes,
Right.
it's a beautiful thing. And it just, you know, it was almost joyful to solve things that would have given me headaches like years ago, because it's just, you know, you expect it, you know what to happen with it, you know what to do. And then, yeah, and I got to host, and that's my favorite part.
Yeah.
I wasn't even booked to host, but I got to host, and I had fun. So.
That's always magical. That means your personality shake up that role.
Of course.
I think the ability to be open to learning is important, and people will see that more than you realize, and they'll trust you more too. So
That is
in all
true.
honesty.
That is true. So, Jaden, you got any small wins this week?
Oh my goodness. I think that for me, the biggest one was the fact that it was so nice out, so I got to spend time outside, which in the winter in New York City we don't get to enjoy.
That's beautiful.
So
That is very true.
That's a good small win for the winter, because
That is very true.
they said it's going to be the coldest projected winter in all of the 10
I mean, it's
decades.
not over,
When?
but
Because it's been
Exactly.
warm.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
been
Them
cooking
AI
us.
bots that you know they coming to Earth or what?
I don't know, because it's looking funny. Bonus small win. It's been beautiful sunsets this week and sunrises.
It has.
And I've been catching a lot of them in my pictures. Because of my work schedule, I've been up for the sunrise and the
Right.
sunset.
Oh my
and I've been
goodness.
just, it's been beautiful.
That's
Been real beautiful.
That's beautiful. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that.
All right, so we're gonna get into this. We're gonna cook it up. Let's start at the beginning, right? There are specific ways to protect your intellectual property. Patents, copyrights, and trademarks. And today we're gonna focus specifically on trademarks. So can we first define a trademark and how it differs from the others?
Yeah, so a lot of people, they don't know what they need, what kind of protection they need. So they'll say, oh, I need to patent my logo. And it's like, no, you need to trademark your logo. Patents are for inventions. Copyright is for music, art, design, something that you've created, that you've put, pen on paper. And trademark is for your branding, your source identifier of your brand, of your goods, of your services. So trademark is just for something that you're using as a logo, whether at the top of your web page or on your tag, something that where people they know that it's coming from you. Right?
Okay. I like that. And so when does someone need a trademark?
If you have a brand.
So if you have
anyone who has a brand,
you need a trademark.
Right.
I would say that it's risky not to have one because first off, it's not that expensive.
Okay.
But second off, you don't want to wait until it's too late, until you find out, oh, this is already registered for someone else and I can't get the protection, or they're coming after me with a cease and desist letter, or I now have I put all this money into marketing and now I have to change my whole branding, and so that should be one of the first steps.
Okay.
Right.
So let's dive in a little bit deeper on that, right? Let's say I just started ABC company, right? And I make my logo and I launch my website, right? What is it exactly am I protecting? Like, am I just protecting the right to use my logo? Am I protecting other people from using my logo? Like, what?
So the reason why you want to get the protection, first off, we're a first to file country. So it doesn't matter when you started using it or when you came up with it. It matters when you file the application.
Okay.
So someone could say, oh, well, I came up with that years ago, I just never filed. Doesn't matter. Someone else filed it first. The second thing is that, you want me close to the mic? I'm sorry.
You're good right there. That's good right there.
Is this better?
Yeah. You don't have to go that close. But yeah, you're good, yeah.
I'm just playing. Okay, so where were we? So it's important to get the protection because you want to make sure that if anyone is thinking of having a brand that's very similar, that they can look up in the system and realize, oh no, I just can't do this. And what's great about protecting your mark is that if someone does want to use your branding, your intellectual property, they can license it from you. They could pay you to use it.
Ah, okay.
That's dope.
That's where license and royalties start to come in. Right. Okay. And now you control the uses of your images and your brand. Okay.
Correct. That's why you see a lot of like the Playboy bunny on a Hot Topic shirt. Playboy didn't produce that shirt, but Hot Topic licensed the mark to use on their shirt.
That's genius. So it's basically like, look, let me borrow this for a second.
And everyone can win.
Everybody eats, right? So when it comes to trademarking, what if, all right, you file yours first. However, someone else is still using a logo that is similar to your logo. Then
you send them a cease and desist letter.
Ooh.
Or you have your lawyer do it. Yeah. So to go from the beginning, you don't need a lawyer to file the application, but a lot of people don't know that, and so they won't do it because they think it costs a lot of money. Hiring a lawyer does cost a lot of money, but if it's a simple application, then you could do it on your own. So the process is that you need to have either the choice of doing your logo or your name, so you could file one or the other or both, and then you choose what goods or services do I want to protect. Do I want to protect everything that I'm actually producing or planning on producing? Or do I think that it's more likely and common for people to try to copy my branding for clothing, and so I'm just going to protect for clothing? But you can only file for things that you actually are that you're intending to use. So there's something called a 1A application, which is that you're already in use, and then 1B, which is intent to use. So you can't get registered unless you are in use, but you can file the application before you're in use.
That's dope. So it's like stay ready before you need to get ready.
Yeah, and then you can continue to upgrade the application until you're really in use, and then you can get published and registered right then, and you don't have to wait, because right now there's a backlog of almost a year probably between filing and registration.
So in fact, it's better to get in now, because such a big backlog. The longer you get in, the longer you're gonna have to wait.
And so, like I said, hiring an attorney, that part's expensive. You should still do it. If you have something complex, you absolutely should hire an attorney. Once you get the response that's gonna ask for an amendment, you should hire an attorney if it's something more complicated. But you have pretty high chances of getting registered if you follow all the steps from A to B. Now, the thing is that each, like I said, you have to decide which goods and services you want to register for. Each good or service might be in a different class. So those classes are each going to cost you a filing fee. So, for example, all clothing is in one class. But if you're doing another kind of good, like if you're doing shoes, also in the clothing class. If you're doing headphones, different class. If you're doing, if you want to do clothing, but also an online store that's selling clothing, different class. So you have to decide which one you want to protect.
You just said something. That's actually wanted to ask about that. 2 questions. First question, what are the different classes? Like, how do we like define different classes? How do we understand that? Because someone could be like, hey, I just want to use it for all in perpetuity kind of thing. But as you said, you have to only file for the ones that you actually intend to use.
Correct. So I can't have my logo and then file for something when I'm not intending on ever making t-shirts. To file for t-shirts, 'cause I don't want other people making t-shirts with that. I can't do that.
Okay.
They might not be able to make t-shirts with my branding if I am filed to protect whatever else, and the USPTO, the Patent and Trademark Office, says, listen, it's confusingly similar. A consumer will probably assume that it's coming from the same source. So there's still a possible protection from someone using that on a good that you don't create.
Okay.
But you can't file for that.
Okay. And then second, about the classes. So like t-shirts, you said t-shirts versus online t-shirts are 2 different classes?
No. So goods and services. So classes, I think it's 1 through 32, I think, is 32 or 34 maybe is goods.
Okay.
And then 35 through 45 is services.
Services, okay.
So any kind of goods will fit into those 1 through 35 or whatever.
Okay.
And then services, for example, the sale of goods or entertainment services like podcasts.
Okay.
Or education services. So those will be in the services.
The services category.
But they're all under goods and services. They're all under the same kind of application.
Okay. And second, like, what's the filing fee? That's like the $1 million question. Right. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's so expensive. I don't know. Like, it's gonna cost me thousands of dollars. Like,
if you are in use and you have very simple goods and services that are already in the system, it's only $250 per class, per application.
$250 per class per application. So if I wanted to do merchandise and podcasting, it would just be $500.
Correct. And if you want to do your name and your logo, it's also $250 for the name, $250 for the logo.
Okay. And what is the benefits versus disadvantages of like filing for the name versus the logo?
It depends. Sometimes it might be easier to do one or the other. Like if there are other companies with similar names out there, then filing for the logo actually might get you more chances of registration.
Okay.
If there's nothing out there, filing for the name might be better because then it's a more broad registration. The logo also you can file in black and white, which means that if you file the logo in black and white, then that protects any color use or any style. If you just file the logo in one color, then that's saying you're protecting the use in one color. Generally, as you can probably understand, that as long as there's some sort of confusion in commerce, someone else is not going to be able to file that same logo in another color. If you're filing in red and they want to file it in green, they probably won't be able to.
Okay.
But it's that kind of thing of which do you want to protect.
Okay.
And if you have a ton of money, some of these big companies are filing to protect all forms because they can and they want to, and then it makes it easier to send a cease and desist or go to court and say, look, this is all that we've done. We've already spent the money ahead of time to save money in the future.
Smart.
So now let's say someone does use my logo, right? I file my trademark. I see them out there printing their shirts, selling their shirts. What is it that I can do? Like, explain what a cease and desist is, because I know everybody's heard that buzzword, cease and desist. But like, what exactly is a cease and desist, and how is it enforceable?
This is where you need to get a lawyer. Unfortunately, it does cost money to go after someone who is copying you, but you want to go after them. You don't want someone making money off of your intellectual property, off of your product.
Thanks.
So, I mean, that's a place where I definitely know a couple people that I've referred friends to that have been able to send really great cease and desist letters, that when my friends have gotten cease and desist letters, they've been able to respond really well, but that's where you need a lawyer.
Okay. So that's where the investment is. But as you said, save the money in the beginning.
That cease and desist is more valuable when you have the trademark, even if you have it just filed, even if you're not registered yet. If you have that trademark application, you say, look, we're already filed. We have first rights because, look, whoever is copying didn't file.
Right.
So that's why it matters. Just get that application in there.
Okay. Okay.
So long as you're in a state of processing, you're basically covered.
You're covered to tell people to give notice to people that you are claiming rights to that trademark.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's basically giving notice. So the process is this: you file the application, you go back and forth with the USPTO, the Patent and Trademark Office. The examiners are going to look at your application. They're going to say either you're good to go, you get published, or please edit these couple things. Once you're good to get published, then it's called the opposition period. So it's 30 days where they're giving notice to everyone else and all the attorneys that are there on retainer for these big companies who are looking constantly at what's getting published. So you have 30 days of being published for people to say, actually, let me go and fight against this. So a big company might come against you. And so it might go back and forth. But in all honesty, if the USPTO has said you're good to get published, you're hopefully good. After those 30 days, then you are going on to registration. Mm-hmm. And so that process from filing to registration could take about a year. And once you're registered, then you really have all the rights, and you are able to then license that mark as well. But yeah, if you need an attorney for any part of that process, like responding to the office actions for the amendment or to send a cease and desist letter, it's worth the money. It really is. And the risk is that if you're going against a big company, even if you do have the rights in your mark, the big company has more money. And so they've been able to take people down and have them spend a ton of money without even having rights to the mark. And so that's why, it's important to protect yourself. And that gets into something else that I wanted to make sure to mention, which is when you file, you can either file under a company or an individual. And so a lot of people, they say, oh, it's my brand, I'm gonna do it under an individual. And so even if you have an LLC, they'll still file it under themselves as the owner. Now that's totally fine. What I've learned though is when that happens, then if someone wants to come after you and file a suit against you, then they're filing against the individual when you probably want them to file against the LLC.
Right.
Yes.
So that's a thought. So definitely, it's a personal choice.
Because you want to just like separate that.
It's a personal choice.
That is exactly why you have your LLC.
Right.
Two separated.
Right.
And so you're kind of being kind of productive if you created this entire entity to protect yourself.
And then you're filing under your name.
Yeah.
And then so just make sure. So that's one of the back and forths is that sometimes people will say, oh, I'm the owner, but then write that it's an LLC.
Okay.
So if you write that you're the owner, write it's an individual. If you have that the LLC is the owner, then write it that it's an LLC.
Okay. Question. I have a couple of questions actually. First one now, is a trademark transferable?
Yeah, so you can assign a trademark. You
So
can
like,
either
let's say
license it or assign it to
I
another
messed
owner.
up. I was like, oh man, I'm listening right now. I'm like, oh crap, I filed it under my name. What am I gonna do? Is there like
It's called an assignment.
an assignment? Okay, and is that a separate fee for that?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't think so, but don't quote me on that.
Well, Google that.
That's a good question.
Check it out. It's
But
a good
yeah,
thing to
so
think
it's-
about.
Exactly.
Think about that.
You can
Google it.
there could always be multiple owners because a lot of companies go through transferring to the new owner of the company. So like your company
Yeah.
is sold, you transfer all the intellectual property to the
new
next
owner.
company.
Okay. Because then you could also sell and buy trademarks.
Yeah, so right, licensing is more like renting, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But then, right, if you decide, hey, I'm done with this mark, but another company wants to use it and they want to buy it from me, then yeah, that's like buying instead of renting.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
What has been, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
What has been the most common mistake that you ran into with trademarks?
Oh my goodness, that's a good
Good one.
question. I'm sure there could be different answers every day, but I would say there are funny things. So like I said, goods and services. So under the goods and services, there's a class, and then the actual goods or services, it's called the identification, the ID. And generally, a very nice and simple one would be clothing, namely shoes, hats, shirts, jackets. But some companies are funny and they go, this company sells all kinds of things with accessories and parts, and like they make it very convoluted. And the more specific, the better. You can't use the word accessories, you can't use the word parts unless you're saying what kinds of accessories or what kind of parts.
Okay.
So yeah, it's definitely the more specific, the better in the trademark application.
Right. So for goods and services, say you're doing their trademark of like your food service, right? And now like you're selling meats. you're selling meats, you're selling juices. Is meats and juices like vegan meats and juices, is that under the same good and service, or is that like a whole separate service?
So the services would be the restaurant services of selling your food. The goods would be a different class for juices and a different class for meats. What's funny is that I think beer is in the same class as juices and other beverages, whereas alcohol, like other alcohols, are in another class.
Another class. Yeah.
Wow.
So, but that's what I'm saying. I don't have everything off the top of my head, but it is a funny.
It's a funny game.
It's a fun road to go down, and I definitely recommend going down
specific.
that. Well, and going down that road because it's sort of like there's something called the ID manual, and if you type it into Google right now, the USPTO ID manual, and that will come up with a search bar, and type in any goods or service, and it will show you what class it's in and how it's classified. And that $250 application needs you to take something directly from that ID manual as opposed to making up your own. So I think it's easier to do it that way.
That's genius.
I love that. That made me think of a thing. 6 months from now, when we're doing a podcast, whenever somebody brings up something, we're going to have it pop up on the screen right up here. So 6 months from now, I got y'all. Watch it. If it happens sooner, it happens sooner. But I'll let them know that. 2, now it brings up the question of what can and cannot be trademarked. Like, there is so much gray area, right? Like, especially for me at least, the cannabis industry is a new thing, right? Like, what can and cannot be trademarked? Is there like limits on types of imagery, limits on content, limits on words, like?
So there used to be an issue with like vulgar marks. I don't think that's an issue anymore. I think they're allowing vulgar marks, quote unquote, like you can. The other day I had a mark that had the word shit in it, and I had to search a bunch of marks that had shit in it, and it was hysterical. So I don't think it's an issue any longer. I'm not sure about the cannabis industry services. I feel like that I'm not sure if those marks are getting registered. I have to look into that. But a good part of that question is what you can't get registered.
Right.
So, for example, it's called if it's like ornamental use. If the logo on your shirt, if that's purely ornamental, if that's not obvious, now this looks like it might be a brand, so that might actually be good. But if it was just a logo on a shirt that looked like it more of a design than a source identifier, like your shirt, where it's more of a design than a source identifier, then that's not able to be registered because that's just a picture on a shirt.
Right.
And it's not saying it's not like you're saying, oh, I know where that comes from. You know, it's more of just someone created a shirt and put a picture on it. Whereas this might be more of, oh, I know where that comes from.
Yes. Okay.
So, you know, when you see like the little alligator on the top of the shirt or like, you know, an embroidered logo, that's trademarkable. If it's a picture of Mickey Mouse on a shirt, I mean, that's more of, you know, the Disney copyright that I think is actually about to run out, which is wild.
Wow.
And that's the other thing. Patents last for 20 years. Copyright is the life of the creator plus 70 years. And trademark is as long as it's in use. So it's renewed every 10 years. I think they like make sure that you have your mark in use between the 5th and 6th year. But you basically can have a trademark have as long of a life as possible, so there are marks that have been, you know, around forever, as long as it is in use actively.
Okay, that's interesting.
So another thing that you is part of the application and something that they might write back saying, oh, you need to edit this, that goes into what you can and cannot trademark, is if something is generic or if it's descriptive of the services or goods. So for example, if your podcast has the word podcast in it, you'd have to disclaim the word podcast, which doesn't change anything about your rights. It just means that you don't have exclusive rights to use the word podcast. Well, unless you are like the one that created the word, but then they could become generic if other people use the word too. So for example, if your goods are VJ's sweatshirts and you're selling sweatshirts, then you have to disclaim the word sweatshirts in your application. You could still have it be VJ's sweatshirts, but then in the application, there's a part that asks for other information, like if there's a translation, if you're using the name, you know, if you're using your full name, then you're going to have to say that you have rights to use that name. And then another part of that is the disclaimer. And so that's what the disclaimer means, is that you're saying that even though this is part of your mark, you are not having exclusive rights to use the word podcasts.
Or like show. Or like
show, or One that I just worked on recently was landscaping for a landscaping company. So those kinds of things, like, clothing for a clothing company, things that are obviously generic terms or descriptive terms of the goods or services.
Okay. So now, like, let's say something as crazy as, like, I want to trademark a Nazi logo.
Oy
like,
vey.
Can I, like, trademark something crazy like that?
Well,
Can I trademark a burning cross?
That's a really good question. So yeah, speaking of vulgar marks, I don't know. That one might be a red flag. I would say that my initial thought is, as long as you're using it as a source identifier, then, I mean, that's crazy that you'd be using it as a source identifier, but
then
I don't know.
Could you?
Oh, that's weird.
Could you then?
What a terrible question.
No, but wait. Could you then trademark the swastika and then make no one else be able to use the swastika?
Well,
because now you can just see.
That, no?
I
No,
think,
patents
listen,
is for,
I think in Germany it's illegal to use it anyway. I'm
Okay,
not sure. It
but
should
like,
be illegal to use it here.
That's what I'm saying.
not.
Like, but like, can you then trademark something that is vulgar and not allow people to use it?
That's a wonderful question, and I do not have an answer for you.
Okay. But can you use?
That's a nice thought. I mean, that's a good question. I wonder if someone out there has tried to trademark it. I don't know. Something to look into, although I really don't want to.
Yeah, I'm curious about the application.
Craziest thought process. Oh my God.
I know.
Goodness.
From what I read, you can trademark your slogan, right? So, like, we say you either could win with us or watch us win. That's trademarkable.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
If that's like let's say on your podcast page you have the podcast name and then that's like the line under it. Perfect way to show.
Question.
So as long as it's so that's part of the application, that if you're in use, you have to show how you're in use. So if you're selling goods, you have to show a sale page, an option to buy, a purchase page on a website or an in-person, like here's the tag on the shirt. If it's a service, then it's the web page or the store in person. If it's a podcast, then the screenshot of the podcast page. And so if you have that as, part of the name, like your name, and then that under it, then that's absolutely trademarkable.
But would I have to file a separate trademark for those, or as part of the?
You can so you can either do the name in standard characters, as they say. You can do the name in stylized characters. You could do the name in the logo. You could do just a logo without the name if there's a picture that doesn't need the wording. You could do a logo with the wording and other wording in the way that it's fully seen.
Right.
You just can't do something and then submit a specimen of something less than what you're showing. So whatever you submit as what you want your mark to be, like the full logo with all those words, the specimen, the proof that you're showing has to have it exactly as it's seen in your mark that you submitted.
So if you have a goods and service and you don't have a website,
what's the good or service? If it's goods, then in person, taking a picture of the tag. If it's a service, then
like your service is like, say if you're like a caterer, but you don't have a website yet, right?
You're a what?
Caterer.
Like
caterer.
You're doing your
Oh,
food service.
a business card or a pamphlet or an advertisement. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. You can't do those things for goods, but you could do them for services.
Okay.
Could you use an Instagram page?
I'm not sure. But that's why for podcasts, it's good to show like the podcast
page.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. That is good. That's good information to know.
We getting them Jordana jewels, y'all.
And also in the application, it will ask you when you've used it. So of course, if you're not in use yet and you just had the idea, then you could just not put the date of use in yet. But if you have been in use, then you have to tell them when you first came up with the idea and then when you first put it into commerce. So as long as the commerce date is after the first date that you used it.
Okay.
And so it could be any time. It could be years ago. It could be yesterday.
Smart.
As long as
You just have to remember to put that in.
Okay. And so now, let's say I have a logo, but I use it differently. Let's say I use it like the logo, and then on the website has the tag page, but then on the T-shirts, it's just the logo. Would I file separate trademarks, or would I just like?
You would want to file the trademark for whatever is common for both of them. So if on the shirt and on the page you have both with the logo, even if there are other words there, just file for the logo because that is the common thing for both, right?
Okay, got you. So
Yeah,
the
so it doesn't
common
really
element
matter.
across.
The common element, it doesn't matter how you're using it as long as it matches what you're filing.
Okay. Okay.
And when you're showing it in the specimen, you're showing that it's a source identifier. So on a website, it's generally like the top of the page of the website that's showing it's for sale. It has to match. So if your mark is using the word in singular and the website has it in plural, then it doesn't match.
Right. Because even I believe, like, even on because I'll be on a trademark site, right? On the USPTO, when you're searching for, like, as you're doing your Google search on USPTO of your name or brand or thing, it comes up under those, the name pops up. And if the name doesn't match, then it basically like, all right, free game, go.
So it's interesting because, right, we have to look at how things could be confusingly similar. So if there's a lot of punctuation, maybe it wouldn't be confusing. But if something has, for example, you can get something refused that has, or rather you can get some, your specimen can be refused if you filed with spaces between all the letters or all the words and the specimen has everything together. So even if we know that it's 3 separate words, if your specimen shows it as the 3 words as one word at the top of the website, then it's not the same as submitting it as 3 separate words. So you actually have to submit it
as it appears.
It has to match, yeah.
Okay.
Which, like, these are the little things. If you get something called an office action back, it's not saying you're not going to get registered. It's saying just fix these little things. Okay. So you can absolutely do that without a lawyer, but if it's a little confusing and you don't know how to read it, call a lawyer.
Okay. So
now someone that now has to find a lawyer, what is their price range? What is that looking like for someone that needs to find a lawyer?
Oh, that's a good question. Here in New York, it's going to be among the most expensive. I would say that some lawyers would charge close to maybe $400 an hour. Reading an office action and explaining to you what to do with it probably will take under an hour. Responding to an office action is going to take more than an hour probably for an attorney. But yeah, it's a legal document that if you can read it and it says, take a second to realize that you can read it. It's not as intimidating. My first time looking at one was very scary. But it's going to say something like, just respond to this with these simple things. This is how we want you to edit it. It will give you the suggestions. And then just respond with those edits. The harder ones to respond to are when they say there's something else out there that's confusingly similar. We're going to say no to this application. And if you want to fight it, then a lawyer can write back a response that says, these are my arguments for why it's not confusingly similar in commerce. So that argument you do need a lawyer for, but the little amendments you don't need one for.
Okay.
And so now let's say I've been using my trademark for a year, right? And then I found out that in the last 6 months, someone's been making hundreds of thousands of dollars on a copy of my logo. Now, what am I entitled to? Like, some people be like, I sue them for everything they got. Some people be like, oh, I can't fight it because, they already made the money. Like, what is my legal rights?
So you said you're registered already?
Yes.
So the first step would be to send a cease and desist letter. And then, unfortunately, you do have to go into litigation in order to get the potential sales and their commissions off of what they sold with your logo, and that costs money. There are ways, I think, to get, and I haven't done litigation, so I don't know how the process works. There are ways to probably get them to pay your legal fees, but really it's just about getting them to stop doing it, because every sale that they making it look like it's coming from you is going to hurt your brand in the long run, and that's why you want to make sure that people aren't using your branding, because you don't want the consumers to think it's coming from you when it's not. So you want to control where people, if someone's buying something that they think it's yours and it's not good quality, then that's a problem. So you want to control where consumers, the consumer's vision and view of your product. Oh my God, did I answer the question? Oh, the question was how you go about it. So that's when it gets expensive. The thing is, if it's a big company, it's harder to go, to go against them because they have the money to litigate. If you are able to take those steps, then you can probably get the proceeds of their sales. But I think that the first step is really to stop it as soon as possible and send that cease and desist letter.
Okay.
Because if they continue doing it, so another thing is that trademark registration and the USPTO and patent, trademark, copyright, all these filings are under federal law. So if someone goes against your cease and desist letter and continues to knowingly infringe on your trademark, then they're breaking federal law. So if you truly do want to go after them after sending that cease and desist letter, then that's a much higher threshold than trying to go after them without like they're knowingly infringing. So that's why you send the cease and desist letter first and hope that they stop after that.
Okay. So let's say I do send a cease and desist letter, and they do stop, but in the last 6 months they've made like $600,000. Am I entitled to any of that, or I'm just like?
I think so, but I think you have to take them to
you have
court.
to take them to court.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why a lot of cases, I think they say about 80% of cases settle before going to court, because going to court is expensive, and people would rather say, hey, listen, take this money. I'm good to, take care of this out of court. And so you might be able to get them to, or their lawyer to convince them to say, hey, just give them this money. Let's not go to court.
Okay.
But it's, taking chances for sure.
Okay. And so now let's say I'm a little guy, filed my first trademark, but now like Walmart's using it. Like I don't have a lot of money, but like what are my options as like a tiny little fellow?
It's hard, especially because Walmart has the money to put you out of business.
Yeah,
I would say that you should still absolutely send a cease and desist letter, because they have to be made aware that they're knowingly infringing and that it's federal law that they're violating.
Right.
So,
So it's like I'm the little guy, but I'm protected by the big guys.
And this is where it gets into, maybe because this seems like a big case, it's sort of high profile. If you're dealing with a big company, you might be able to get a lawyer to take it on, oh my God, what's the word? On like commission of how much you make off. Yeah. Okay. So, for example, you can either get a volunteer lawyer, like from Volunteer Lawyers for the Arts, where the lawyer can totally do it pro bono, or they might be able to help you out in that sense. Or you can get a lawyer that says, hey, you don't have to pay me off the bat. Whatever we make off this, I'll take a percentage off of it. Because if it's a big case against one of those companies, they might like that on their roster.
I like that. Now, imagine it's two similar companies, right? They're doing the same type of food. They're doing the same type of service. They're providing the same type of goods, right? Is it a way for them to file at the same time?
Yeah, so I actually had this situation happen the other day where there were two that were very similar filed on the same day. And it really depends on who clicks the button first.
Okay.
Ooh. So, yeah. And the way that we
like
figured that,
eBay.
yeah, the way, and I don't think they knew about each other. It was a freak thing where this guy who pressed the button second, he missed out. So the one who pressed the button first is not going to get that refusal, where the second guy is going to get a refusal.
Wow.
Yeah, and so you figure out who pressed the button first by seeing what their filing number is, their application number,
and that all still comes up on the USPTO site.
Yep,
right?
and it's totally all public searchable, so you can go on that website. Go to trademarks, go to go to the bottom, go to tests, and that test search. You can type in any word or name, and it will come up. It will come up with the different things that are registered, or I think also applications, and also it comes up with the not still live application. So you'll see everything the history of everything with similar name.
You see the dead applications on there. So like with the logos because I feel like even searching up logos on the USPTO is a little tricky. So how would we give our viewers like a easier way to look up
that's a good question.
Because I feel like that's the trickiest thing on that website.
It's the same place, right? It's the test search, but instead of the word search, you're going to do the design code search.
Okay.
So there's a design code manual. So you look up the same way the USPTO design code manual you could see in Google. Click on that, and it will give you this 6-number design code for everything. So for trees, for people, for hand gestures. For the other day, I had to look up, someone smoking, which was very funny because it was like all these different logos of people smoking in all different ways. What other things? Literally everything.
Can you trademark a specific style of smoking in a trademark?
I think so.
Well, if it's a picture that you're using as a source identifier for your goods and services, then yeah.
Huh. That's interesting.
But it's not like you're the only one that can use that style of smoking. It's more that you're the one that can use that picture you created. Yeah.
Okay. Yes.
So yeah, each thing has a code. Like for example, for leaves, for lines, for waves. Like every little design element has a code, and you can do a design search code where you take my mark has these 3 elements. Let me look up those 3 elements and what else is registered out there with those elements.
Right. So when you're filing the logo, do you just upload a picture of the logo and that's how that works? Okay.
And then with that, you also have to put a description in there. So whatever the logo is, and you have to, in the box below it, say, this logo consists of, and then you explain, whatever the picture is in the logo.
Okay. So now I have a kind of silly question, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the world of like adult entertainment, they have logos and stuff, but their logos sometimes are X-rated, like adulterated. Like, are those one fileable and two like describable?
Yeah,
I think so.
that's like that goes under the logo, right?
Yeah, but I think that this is just something fun that you're gonna have to go home and look into.
Okay. Well,
But no, I think so, because like we said, Playboy has a bunch of marks. I think some of those
Yeah.
marks are like the silhouettes.
yes.
So yeah, like silhouettes of naked women, I think are actually one of the design codes.
Oh, well, that's 2023.
That's
so.
really genius. What made you want to get into this? Like it's
That's
so
yeah.
many,
That was the next question. I
There's
had.
so many brands of like being a lawyer, right? You said, listen, I want to be the trademark lawyer. Like what inspires you to just say like this is the route that I want to choose?
Well, of course, like so many people, you don't actually know what you're going to end up doing. You just sort of have an idea of what interests you. And I started off as a musician, and then I went to law school, and I used to work in patents just as a desk job. I was a patent paralegal, and I went to law school, and I was very into intellectual property, both patents, but also trademarks and also entertainment. I was thinking, I could go into entertainment law. But entertainment law is a lot about contracts. It's a lot about, talking to other sides and fighting and potential litigation. And I don't really want to do litigation. I don't want to go to court. Right. I also don't want to write contracts all day. I really liked the idea of working with brands in this specific way. And so it's not about, their contracts in their business side, but it's actually about their branding, their marketing, their designs, their logos, and the protection of those things. So yeah, a weird way around realizing that it's not entertainment that I liked so much, but this specific part of intellectual property.
Okay.
Because that was the next question I had, was like, how did you get into this? So now let's say I'm a brand, right? I have a line I've been doing some things, and I'm thinking of dropping a new t-shirt design. Should henceforth, whenever wanting to design a new representation of my brand, should filing a trademark in preparation to use it be a part of my strategy?
1,000%.
So every new design that you do.
It depends how much money you have and how much money you want to put into this.
Right.
But I would say it's important to do that before you spend money on marketing for that, with that design.
Right.
Because what if you get a cease and desist letter and you realize, oh my God, I didn't realize that someone else was using something like this.
Yeah.
And so better to do all that research and try to file your trademark before spending money on the branding.
Because it's not like you could have, because with LLCs, you could do things, open up a new business under a DBA, right? It's not like when you do your trademark, you could say, I'm doing business as, or this is protected under. Like, you can't really break down those categories. It's
interesting because actually in the trademark application you could do DBA in there also. It doesn't really change anything other than maybe to make it more searchable. If you're typing that in as one of the owners. I would say I'm losing my train of thought because I'm getting very jealous of them over there.
Oh.
Can you guys share? Not yet.
Oh yeah, definitely can.
Also, that jar over there, it's not what it says on the jar. I know you guys were looking at it. I'm sorry. It was me just using that cute jar. Thank you. But yeah, did I answer your question? What was the question? Cheers, l'chaim.
L'chaim. Is that Jewish?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I ain't want to, you know,
hey,
it's a sensitive
coming up soon.
It's a sensitive world. Yeah, I think that does answer the question. So any new design or any new structure you have within your business. So say if you're coming out with shirts, you got a different sweatsuit logo, you pop it out with some new merch, some new gear. What Jordana is basically saying is protect your brand as much as you can. Multiply. If you're gonna keep multiplying a brand, I know. If you're gonna keep multiplying a brand, then multiply that protection as much as possible. Or you can get a cease and desist letter from another brand that's like, oh, you know what, let me copy your style real quick and let me press that button first.
Yep.
That's exactly what.
And it's all searchable. Yeah, it's all searchable. So anything that you are thinking about today that you think, oh, I like this name for my brand, look it up today and make sure that it's not already registered out there or even filed, because you'll have more chances. Now, if something is filed, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to register. So all this stuff is public. Once you get more used to the website, you can see if they've had an office action issued. You can see what the office action was for. You can look at a brand that's like yours. That's why I tell a lot of people, look at a brand that is doing something like you're doing, and you can copy their application. You can copy their goods and services, how they wrote it.
Yo, that is hilarious.
But
I mean, because they got through. They created a template. So
yeah,
that's what you got to do.
So,
Work smarter, not harder.
But yeah, so see what's already out there. Make sure no one's using a name like yours. Maybe change it up a bit if someone is. But also see what office actions were issued. See if the office action that was issued is about them not being able to get registered because there's something else out there, and so then maybe you're going to get the same refusal. Or if their office action is about, if let's say it's a vulgar thing and they have something they need to wait. If it's an NFT mark, I think they are letting NFT marks go through, but it's about how you write it in the identification.
Okay.
For example, you can't say that your mark is for NFTs. You have to say that it's for NFTs that are, hold on, what's the wording? To like authenticate the goods. Okay. So it's like your mark is for NFTs that are authenticating, photos online.
Okay.
Or authenticating whatever goods are being sold online.
Okay. Yes.
It's look at what's registered and then copy
it.
that.
Okay. Look at what's registered. Get familiar with the site. 1, to know who's already using it, and 2, to make sure that you're making sure that you know what's not getting passed and what is getting passed.
And the reasons why.
Exactly. So to go back to the format of the website, so the test search, TESS, that's where you can type in the different words. And then on that page, so you pulled up the page for a specific mark, then you see a button for TSDR, and then that is the documents that they are specific documents of the process that they've gone through.
Yeah, I'm so happy you're breaking this down, because when you're on the website, it gets a little confusing.
Yeah, and there's a lot of information there, but the more you go on it, the more you'll know, and you don't have to be a lawyer to have access.
You don't have to be a lawyer to have access. So if a lawyer say, trust me, I'll look it up, they're trying to swindle you. Go look yourself.
How much money have we spent on, I'm looking at you guys, how much money have we spent on using lawyers to look these things up and thinking that we've gotten registered and they just did the search, right?
That's
so yeah.
They don't get
things that we could do on your own.
Things you could do on your own. Question: you said about like plural versus singular and certain things like that, right? Let's say my thing are the Canadian booties. If somebody filed a Canadian booty, are they gonna get away?
They could.
It depends if it's confusingly similar. So I mentioned the plurals because if your mark is plural, or let's say if you're using it, if you're filing for a plural and then the specimen you're showing that it's in singular, that's not matching. But in a confusingly similar argument, you're probably gonna be able to say, listen, I'm registered for booties. They can't come in and register for booty, which they'll probably be told that they can't. But if for some reason they get published for booty, then you can go in and say, hey guys, I'm opposing this in that 30-day period. I want to file for opposition of this mark because I think that that's confusingly similar with my brand.
Right.
Okay, and so now that I have my brand, should I be like a vigilant hawk, checking the site to see if I got 30 days to check something?
So that's, like I said, what lawyers usually should be doing. But if the USPTO is doing their job, then they will not allow another mark to come out there that's confusingly similar, because that's what the USPTO protects, what's already registered.
Right.
And so if you are trying to file something that's similar to something already registered, you're going to get a refusal. And that's the USPTO protecting people who are already registered by refusing a new mark. So you're hoping that you're going to get a refusal on something that's similar. But if they, for some reason, the USPTO thinks that they're different enough, then they might get published. And then, yes, you can go against that. And then it goes to what's called the TTAB, the opposition sort of like courtroom.
This is all some very interesting stuff.
There's some dope jewels, because it's a lot of brands out there that has similar goods, that has similar services, but they also got similar logos. So it's like, it's not really the same, but you looking at it like, well, you're studying me, and then like, it's dope that the USPTO would say it's similar differences. Like it's too similar. You
have to look up who's actually registered. For example, I think Supreme had a big issue by not registering in a lot of countries, so they don't have rights to their mark in some foreign countries.
But is that when a patent comes into play?
No, patents is only for inventions.
That's if they invented something. No, It depends what country, because some countries are first to use and some are first to file. But if it's a first to file country and they didn't file their application, and then some, one of like the trolls filed an application, and I feel like some countries you don't have to be in use. It really depends on the country. So someone else filed the application and got rights to the Supreme mark before Supreme did.
Genius. Okay.
Sucks for them. Yeah. So their lawyer, either they didn't have a lawyer yet or their lawyer did not do their due diligence.
Okay. This is why it's also important to have a good lawyer. That's invest in your...
Exactly. It's expensive. And so, you don't have to bankrupt yourself for the application, but, don't hesitate to get one in order to protect your brand.
Yes.
Don't take those shortcuts.
Yeah.
So is there any, how would they be able to, so are you offering any, insightful, referrals or, just, services to help people with this trademark process, get it going and get it flowing? And
I'm not allowed to take on private clients.
Okay.
So I wish that I could offer that, but I'm always happy to answer questions.
Okay.
I'm very, very happy to answer questions if anyone has questions right now. But other than that, just you can link my information in
the description below.
And so don't hesitate to ask me questions. I can point you in the right directions. I love talking about this. It's very fun for me. Maybe one day I'll quit my job and be able to charge to do this on the side. But it's for me, it's just a complete passion project. So
Right.
That is dope.
So sorry you can't pay me to do it for you.
It's all right, though. Listen, you got this whole episode that we dropped jewels on jewels. Jordana, thank you so much.
Of course. And I can refer people to lawyers if you do need a lawyer. I have had friends that have gotten cease and desist letters, and my lawyer friend has, thank goodness, gotten them out of some hard pickles. So
sticky situation.
I do know some good people to refer you to if you have
if you need the plug, guess what? She charging you up.
She gonna listen. She gonna send you to the right people.
Absolutely.
So you're in good hands. You're in good hands.
This was a powerful episode. This was a powerful. Any tips that you have, closing out? Any tips that you have for people looking to take these steps into trademarking?
Don't slack. Don't say you're going to do it for years and then find out, oh my God, some company. I know someone who literally their artwork is on a company's tag as their logo, and it's registered in the USPTO. And this person has no. They weren't credited. They were nothing. So, and it's all because they didn't register first. They didn't file. They just were like, oh, I'm just an artist. It happens to be his staple. It's what he uses in all of his artwork. And now it's on some random clothing company tag.
Wow.
Yeah. Protect yourself, man. Protect your neck. This is not before you end up on somebody else's tag, man.
No, that's literally a fact. So as you grow, these past 3 weeks, 4 weeks back to back, have you been really paying attention?
Especially once we switch over to YouTube, we came heavy hitting.
If you've been paying attention to the tips, the jewels, the gems thus far, we're helping you build a solid foundation for your business, literally off the rip. And when it comes to protecting your business,
protecting your castle,
don't be shy and really invested in your soldier's armor. Don't be shy.
Yeah, you don't want to go into battle with dinky armor. And when you're doing business out there in America, it's a battle because there are companies. I'll tell you, there are companies that literally will go out there and see brands that are valuable but haven't trademarked it and then go trademark their logo.
Yeah,
now you can't use it unless you pay me.
Yeah,
now you got to pay royalties for your own logo.
Allegedly, I've heard H&M has done that. I don't know firsthand, but I've heard.
I heard that too. It gets shiesty. Don't feel like they already got the money. Nah, you could send cease and desist letter because guess what? Even though you're a small brand, you're still protected by the USPTO. They already.
And that's how you back yourself against these big corporations, man. Getting the government on your side is the only way.
Unfortunately,
really. It's the only way. And listen, the government don't want to work for us in other ways, but at least this way you can have it on your side.
Once you tap into the money frequency, they start protecting you. If you follow the episodes, we've been big on talking about this, following the chain of the green. So, but if you're putting money out there, 9 times out of 10, they want to keep the cash flow going. So
They want to make sure you keep stimulating the economy, and so they're gonna protect what you've been using in your commerce.
but you
The
gotta
same
have,
reason why they let you write off all your business
Facts.
taxes. It's the same reason they care about the money. That's the truth. That's America.
Great way to end it.
that's a fact.
And let's make it
Big
Moguls
Moguls
Monday.
where you either
Win with us.
how you watch us win, baby. We got the amazing, the superstar, Trademark lawyer specialist on the scene, Jordana.
Jordana, tell them where they can find you at.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. My Instagram that I should make more about this kind of thing. So you're inspiring me to make it more of a resource for people. It's Jordana ESQ.
Jordana ESQ.
Jordana ESQ.
Link in the description below.
Bow. It's your girl, Empress, where the energy is tasted and the love is felt. And we got the amazing, the immaculate, the one and only King Cosmic.
It is
my
Sir
God.
Vijano Alexander. The one and only. If you can't find me, you ain't looking hard enough. That's just how it goes. And this was a perfect episode. Thank you again, Jordana.
Thank you, guys.
Because this one reminds me, because we line them up, because when we shoot, we don't miss.
That's a fact.
So we want to make sure that y'all measure twice and cut once. So we're going to get out of here.
That's a bar. I'm putting that in my bar. Look, he gonna hit me. Don't hit me with no copyright.
I got the trademark. She gonna see the patent on the file. I'm gonna have the number.
Yo, we got a lot of things up and coming. As y'all know, we postponed the mogul market. Cole, we giving y'all more time to hit us up with the vendors, hit us up with the performers. We got an open panel. Hit us up. Let us know where it's hitting for the mogul market. We got some things cooking. If you are not following us on our Facebook group,
You definitely want to get into them, because from the Facebook group, that's where we give more in-depth conversations,
Talk
where we
about
can
it.
guide you, answer more of your questions,
Yep.
connect you. It's a resource, it's a network. And your network is your net worth. So we're
That's a
literally
fact.
giving it to you.
$1 million worth of game, baby. It's making mogul Monday.
I hope y'all enjoy your Monday. It's been a beautiful one.
Bow, 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 bow.
And we out.